Welcome. Thank you for joining us on the RP Experience. I'm your host, Andrew Regenard, and today we have Matt Flores, one of our preferred partners with Real Producers. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So a little bit about Matt. Matt is a preferred partner with Naples Real Producers, and he's with the law office of Matthew P. Flores. Prior to starting his career in law, Matt embarked on several law internships, including internship for a criminal defense firm and another one for family law. While neither of these two first ambitions stuck his interest, he was hooked when he came across real estate law. Early in his career, Matt continued to fine-tune his practice and learn as much as possible. When he left to start his own firm, his goal was to make a name for himself as a real estate lawyer. Matt Flores has lived here in Collier County for over 25 years. He graduated from Lely High School and attended the University of Florida and graduated from Ave Maria School of Law. So welcome, Matt. Obviously, that's a ton of information and, kind of business information or professional information. But tell us a little bit about who you are,
Yeah, thank you. As you mentioned, I grew up down here. I think I can call myself a local. We moved from Long Island, New York to Marco Island in 1993.
Marco was small at that point then.
Marco was super small. A lot of vacant lots. It doesn't look anything like it does right now.
Now you're desperate for a lot, right? Like you're trying to
exactly.
Is there even a lot available?
Yeah, you spend a lot of money buying a lot down there at this point.
Yeah.
So grew up in the Southwest Florida lifestyle down there. Fishing, boating, wakeboarding, all those fun things you do as a teenage boy.
Yeah. Wakeboarding. I mean, that's an up north thing. I definitely did that when I was young, but I don't see it much down here. So it's cool that they still have it then.
Oh yeah. We used to do a lot of wakeboarding.
Okay.
We would leave high school, run down Marco, take the boat out. That was a good time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What year or how old were you when you moved? Were you pretty young?
Yeah, I was 7 when we moved down from New York.
Yeah, so pretty much just remember down here then, right? Probably remember a couple cold winters when you were super young. A few little things.
Yeah, we left in a snowstorm. Like it was a bad nor'easter. We loaded up the car. We started driving south. My parents we're never going back to the north again. Sorry.
Oh.
It sounds cool where we're going. So and then we pulled into the driveway and just jumped right in the pool. I was like, all right, this works.
It's so crazy. Like I was just on a trip where we were up in Canada, and it was like, wow, it's cold. And then obviously driving or flying in this, within 24 hours or, within 6 hours, it's perfect and beautiful and hot. And I'm just like, why would you want to live anywhere else at that point? It's just it's shock.
I would much rather just travel to the snow for a purpose, like skiing or something along those lines. Yeah.
So what was you did some internships, but what kind of sparked your interest in law?
Yeah. So when I went to UF, I planned on being a lawyer. They didn't really have a pre-law program. So I was a history major, and I graduated in 2008, and there wasn't a whole lot going on in the economy at that point. Mm-hmm. So, and I was kind of burnt out on school. So I took a year off, and I came down here. I was working for AT&T. I was selling cell phones.
Nice.
Yeah, slinging iPhones around town. And
those are the OG iPhones back in the day.
Exactly. And so, and then, I was like, I don't know, this probably isn't going to work out either. Maybe I should, think about law school again. And, Ave Maria, they were relocating from Michigan. And they reached out and said, hey, if you want to be part of our, the first kind of all through Florida class, we'd love to have you. So it worked out well, and I stopped selling cell phones at that point. Attended law school.
Very different. Yeah. Did you enjoy sales? I mean, a lot of people either love or hate it,
Yeah. I mean, it was I did. It was
Okay.
it was a good experience. I would say I learned a lot. You know,
Yeah.
it was low level corporate. Nevertheless, it was
true.
corporate. So I think I learned some things, and I met a bunch of people too doing that. So
In college I did supplement sales, like it was called Complete Nutrition, but like GNC or like Vitamin Shop, like those, it was like that. And so I was like, it was a learning curve, that's for sure. I loved it, but I was like, there's so much to learn in sales and like, just communication, I guess, human interaction, how you treat people, different things like that. But it was interesting. It was fun.
Yeah. And it's fun having those jobs growing up. And I did pool cage construction. I cleaned the bottom.
That's humbling.
It is.
Being up on those ladders. Yeah, I was like,
very hot to do that in the summer in Southwest Florida.
Yeah.
I cleaned the bottoms of boats one summer. For my parents own a bottom cleaning business, so
nice.
Spent a summer underwater at the bottom of a boat, just scrubbing the whole time. So,
so you had tanks scuba diving then, technically, or was it just like a hose with a mouth?
Yeah, no, it was a brownie from the dock that we ran down.
Nice. That's so funny. Oh gosh. So tell me a little bit with those interns, like, what would you not like about criminal law or family law? And like, obviously real estate law is exciting in a sense because it's like these are huge purchases. These are, all these different things are going on. But like, what'd you not like about criminal law and family law?
That type of arguing, like, I don't mind arguing a position or defending a position in real estate and contract negotiation. I mean, I really enjoy that part of the job.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, everyone has the same goal, in closing a deal.
That's true. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So generally everyone's happy at the end of a transaction. Now, not all transactions work out. Not all contracts close, but in the litigation, whether it's the criminal defense, which I did that one summer in college and was like, that's not going to work out. And then family law and then civil litigation. I just found that my skill set was better suited to do transactional work and deal making.
Yeah.
And a part of it was I found that when I was doing that litigation work, the part of it that I enjoyed the most was the mediation and settlement, conflict resolution,
right?
Which I think lends well to contract negotiation.
Real estate, yeah.
And so, I really, really fell in love with that deal making and closing process, and decided that I was, when I started my law firm, 6.5 years ago, that I was going to just focus as much as I could, as feasible, in doing real estate. So
I didn't think about that, but that's so true that like in one of those situations, and the other two, someone's going to be happy and someone's going to be really mad. Right. It's not like, maybe in the family one, they come to some kind of, equal, agreement, and they're both somewhat happy. But like most of the time, it's not. It's pretty negative. It's pretty nasty too, huh?
Yeah. And like the kind of tired lawyer statement, and when you're doing that, is you try to solve something, and the best resolution is when both parties are unhappy. Like, what an outlook.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So
I'm going to go in this, and just when both people aren't happy, then we're doing a good job. It's like
cool.
Opposite of anything of customer service or, client retention. No. Right.
So I, let's go to the deals where a seller's selling something and gets money, and a buyer's buying something and gets a house or a property that they want, and everyone's walking away happy.
I love that. So how's everything going with the current state? Obviously, how's the law firm going? You've been helping a lot of real producers, top agents here locally. You've been down here for a long time. So how's everything going with that?
Yeah. Obviously we're coming off of a crazy market. It's stabled some, which is healthy. But that also means you've got to shift focus a little bit, the firm, and maybe take on some things that we weren't doing 2 years ago,
right.
Really just because at that point we didn't have the time to do it because we were doing so many closings.
Right.
But there's still plenty going on, you know, particularly here as we sit here in season and it's 80 degrees and sunny outside and the restaurants are full, you know, things are still doing well down here. But, you know, there's still plenty of challenges, particularly coming out of the hurricane.
Yeah. So what are you seeing, you know, we're to date, what is this, 4 months-ish, 5 months almost, something like that. Currently, you know, when this comes and airs, it's going to be a little bit later than that. But what are you currently seeing in this day of like things to look out for in the contracts or struggles or issues that from still post-hurricane?
Yeah. I think the biggest challenges that I've had lately is a lot of these associations where it's condos or HOAs, they now have a full idea, a complete idea of what the total cost is to do repairs, whether that's just to the building or the common areas of a HOA or condo, et cetera. And they have a better idea of the insurance money that they are or aren't going to get, which that means there's going to be special assessments. And the timing of that is kind of tricky, particularly because the contracts in, you know, FARBAR versus NABOR treat that differently. So that's added some real interesting wrinkles into deals lately because, you know, a buyer there might not be an assessment right now, but there may be a week before closing and the buyer is saying, well, I'm not paying for that, but the contract says otherwise. And you know, what did the seller know? What didn't the seller know? It's been an interesting battle dealing with those.
How does that is interesting. And how does that also been affected with insurance? Like, is that causing a lot of people to like either buy or sell? Do you see still? And is that something where like people are like buying and selling and they're taking over kind of like the current claim and stuff? Can you kind of do that, or like how does that work exactly?
Yeah, you can do that. I saw that more after Hurricane Irma,
right?
Because there were a lot of wind claims. I personally did that, to be honest with you, with my house, and it worked out really well. So you can certainly do that. But now with what are more flood claims, I'm seeing that sellers are just taking the money from the claim and selling the property for less. That will then need to be rehabbed by the buyer.
Gotcha.
So that's been
just
more
kind of
common lately.
The lesser of two evils in this sense.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'll take this out. You buy whatever you want, do whatever you want after that.
You put in your new floors, put in your refrigerator, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to discount the house by $250,000 because I took that money out,
right?
And I'm keeping those insurance proceeds.
Exactly. Sense. So you were affected by flooding. Let's talk about that for a second. You have another adventure kind of going on with your family too, with your brother. Tell us about that. Spa, right?
Yeah. I co-own Brookside Market, which is a self-serve craft beer and wine bar. Nice. With my brother, my wife, and our other business partner, Cody Shadley.
Nice.
And so we opened. It's over on Davis Boulevard. We opened in May, and so it's in the Brookside area off of Davis, right in front of Freedom Boat Club.
Yep.
So unfortunately, we got about 3 feet of water.
That place definitely got a lot of water. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was, when we were kind of assessing everything after the hurricane, and we were driving down airport headed south, and we saw airboats coming down from Davis Boulevard. We were like, well, okay, we might have sustained some damage here.
You're like, airboats? Oh, yeah, this is not going to be good.
I could really use one of those beers or cooler right now.
Exactly. Like, I hope it's still cold. Right. Well, so you just opened. Tell us a little bit about, like, when you say self-serve, what do you mean by that? Like, it's kind of a different concept in a sense, right? In a sense than other local bars. So tell us a little bit about the concept of it. Yeah.
So it is truly just self-serve. We have 4 coolers set up against the wall, stocked with craft beer and wine. Mm-hmm. You start a tab with our bartenders, and you grab whatever you want, and then when you're done, you bring up the empties and cash out. I mean, it's very honor system. Wow. It's a small space, 900 square feet. No one's running out with 12 packs of beer.
Right.
We know where you're going.
So it's not like taps everywhere. It's actually canned craft beer.
Correct.
In it. Gotcha. Okay.
We do have 4 drafts, but it's primarily cans and bottles.
Nice.
Yeah.
What sparked your idea of wanting a bar?
Yeah, I mean, so there are other concepts like this, particularly on the East Coast, and we saw that and really enjoyed it, and we just wanted to do that.
Like, we got to bring this over here.
Yeah, knowing at some point, I have an entrepreneurial spirit, as do my partners, and we always like to get into different ventures, and the space and the opportunity just presented itself, and we're like, yeah, let's do it.
If you're not growing, you're dying, right? So if you're not, learning all that kind of stuff, so you got to try it out and have some fun doing it. So that's cool. Now, another thing is you've been very philanthropic, right? You've been helping out, giving back to organizations. Can you touch on what organizations you've been a part of and what you've been doing there?
Yeah, sure. So I was on the board of the MS Center of Southwest Florida for about 5 years. So based out of Bonita Springs, it's a center that gives people with multiple sclerosis an opportunity to gather, to take classes, to better their lives with that horrible disease.
Oh, yeah. Nasty.
So we did a lot of great work with them in helping expand their presence. And then I ran the Naples Junior Chamber for several years, which was a local young professionals network. As part of that, I ran the Great Dock Canoe Race, which is like a Naples tradition.
I've seen that, but what is that exactly?
So it started 40 plus years ago, where it's a canoe race.
Okay.
Very literally a canoe race.
Literally.
That ran from the Dock Restaurant through Naples Bay. And
Dock Restaurant
down on 12th.
Okay, and then it goes. Okay, and it was okay.
Yeah, and with a party surrounding it.
Yeah,
and so it went on for 40 years. The owner of the dock, around 2017-ish, decided that 40 years was enough. To which we raised our hand and said, we'll take it over, and we did. It was a lot of fun. We raised money and had a blast. Unfortunately, the pandemic happened, so that the city and folks weren't too keen on having events for a while. So it kind of
and everything.
Yeah, it's. I would say it didn't die; it subsided. There's new groups that we're working with that are eager to take it over because it's such a cool, like, weird, awesome Naples tradition. So
hey, those are what like keep either like a small town or a tradition or something. Like, it keeps that vibe going. It keeps that what's the word I'm trying to think of? But like, we had those weird things in our small town up in Wisconsin, and those are what I remember, right? It's not like the normal day-to-day stuff. It's those unique. We had these bike weeks. We had all these different things that people. And it's a small town, and the whole thing was like full of bikes. So everyone from the whole, like, every surrounding area would come in. You remember, it was just like overwhelming. It's just like those unique stuff that you don't want to forget.
Yeah,
you don't want to lose.
It is a unique Naples tradition, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, just seeing all the boats out in the bay and watching the canoe races, and then local businesses get involved. I mean, they're the primary sponsors, and they would get. There's a specific race it was a sprint race just for local businesses, and that everyone had a blast doing that. And then they would go to the VIP party and drink beer afterwards on a nice May afternoon.
Hey, well, it sounds like it's going to have your bar associated with it.
Maybe, yes.
Perfect.
Maybe in the near future that'll
There you go. All right. I do want to take a little time to talk about what you enjoy, with your family, your wife and 2 little girls. So tell us a little bit about what you guys like to do outside of your entrepreneur mindset with your businesses and obviously practicing law.
Yeah, well, fortunately, my wife and the girls, they all love going out on the boat. So just about every weekend, we are taking the boat out and enjoying Key Waden Island. Yeah. And all the, just love being on the water and getting out there. I mean, we went this weekend. It was, no clouds, 80 degrees, breezy. You can't beat that.
I was playing catch up all weekend, getting back in the groove of things from being gone. And I was like, first of all, it was great to be back, and then that weather hitting, right? But I was like, man, this weekend is perfect. Yeah, I mean, that's what we live for. I mean, this weekend was really like perfect.
Yeah,
so
it was excellent. So
we're good.
Lucky to get out there.
Well, love it. Well, Matt, unfortunately, we run out of time on these things way sooner than we'd like to. But I appreciate you coming on here, telling a little bit about your obviously your businesses and your story and your journey within you've been down here for your whole life, pretty much. I mean, maybe 7, whatever. We're gonna consider you. We're gonna consider you the local, right? There's not very many people here that are actually from here. So
my wife is, and she's proud of that. So born and raised.
There's like a handful. She probably knows the other,
Right.
15 or 20. So, well, thanks, Matt, for coming on here and sharing your story.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. So, as always, RP Experience is thrilled to have you on here, and we're here at Venture X in the podcast room. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks all.
Awesome.